Hey everybody, it's Kaylani and welcome back to my book corner. Today we are going to talk about, finally, the books that I read in February. I've recorded this video twice and both times something has happened to the footage, so we're trying again. That's why it's so late this month. I'm not really sure how I want to order the books. I think I'm going to do them in order of how they're rated, but I'm not positive yet, so bear with me. It kind of it's going to be a weird one while I figure out what I like to do. I am going to start with the two books I did not finish this month. So I started, one of the books that I did not read this month was American Dirt by Janine Cummings. And I really am not going to say much about this book. I read the first chapter, wasn't overly caught up in it or anything, and then I was looking into some reviews because I was like, well, maybe it gets better, and then I read some reviews and I heard about what was happening, and so I just decided I needed to put it down and not worry about it. So I did not finish this book. It was a little upsetting because it was my first book of the month, but that's okay. They can't all be winners. So that was the first book that I didn't finish. The next book that I read, or did not finish, but started, was The Mothers by Britt Bennett. And this book was not put down for any particular reason. I really like the story and I liked the way it was written. I put it down and I just never picked it back up. So I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood for it. But I hope to pick it back up. Like I said, there's no reason why I didn't like it. There were other books calling my name, and so this one got set back down. But yeah, this is another one I didn't finish in the month of February. And then, so I guess we're just going to start at the top of my pile and work our way down. So the first book that I have is Marriage for One. And this book is a 4-star. It was a big boy. It was 500 and I think it's just 500 pages. I have 520 written down, but I feel like it's almost like 500 on the dot. Let's see. There are some like extra pages from her other books in here. What could count? Yeah, it's 500 on the dot. And this was, like I said, a 4-star. I really enjoyed the plot and I enjoyed the way it was written. It is 500 pages though, and a romance, and it was drawn out significantly. It was very drawn out. And the plot is you have this girl who is going to lose her dream coffee shop that she has been trying to get because her uncle died, and her cousins are going to try to take it away from her. And this guy Jack, he comes into the picture and is like, if you marry me, I'll make sure you get this coffee shop. And it takes her a little bit of convincing, but finally she's like, yes, I will take that coffee shop and I guess marry you as well. And it follows the story of their romance, obviously. And my biggest complaint about this book is like the secret that Jack is keeping the whole time, because it is long. Like the whole story, like you don't even find out, I feel like, what the secret is until like the very end of the book. Like this, you have no idea what's wrong, but this you do. And it just felt like, what's the secret? Just tell me, I won't tell anyone. So that was another one, like I said, 4-star. This is by Ella Mace, and that was another book that I actually finished in February. The next one I have on the top of my pile is Loveboat Taipei, and this is by Abigail Hing Wen. And this is about a girl who is under her parents' they control her a lot, and she just wants to do what she wants, and they want her to go to school to be a doctor, and she wants to be a dancer. And they send her to a summer camp at Loveboat Taipei. And it follows her growth while at the camp and being able to get on her own 2 feet and being away from what she feels like is like the weight of her parents, even though her parents still kind of have a little bit of leeway on her life. And this one, I think I gave a 3-star. Let me see. I should really know. Yeah, I gave it a 3-star because it was very dramatic. And I know it's supposed to be dramatic. It's contemporary YA. But it was a little bit over dramatized for me, and there is the trope of like a fake relationship for like 2 pages, and I just really don't like the fake girlfriend boyfriend trope. So that was what rated it down for me. I did enjoy it. I think I read it in like a day. It was pretty fun, and I obviously liked it enough to finish it. So that was another book that I finished in February. And the next book we have is Lakewood, and this is a arc that I got, and it came out this month in March. I didn't hate this book. I didn't enjoy it particularly either. I gave it a 2-star. It is a slow psychological horror thing. We follow our main girl, and she is trying to get money for her family because her mom has some medical issues, and she needs funding so that her mom can be on a regular medical plan. And they go into a drug trial, and she agrees to be a patient in the trial, and it's a lot of crazy, and you go through 2 different point of views. You go from her point of view, where she's writing letters to her friend Tanya, and then you go to third point of view, where it's just like telling you what's happening. And I think I would have enjoyed it more if it was all first person and none of it was in the second or the third person. Because when we were in first person, I enjoyed a lot more what she was saying than when we were in third person. So that was another book that I finished in February. And then another book that I read was The Scent Keeper. This was the Reese Witherspoon Book Club pick, and I enjoyed this one. In my head, I compared a lot to Dear Edward because it follows the same like storyline where something tragic happens, and then they go and they they continue to live their life past the tragedy. And this one, it is the death of her father. And she lives on an island with her father for, I think, the first 12 years of her life. And she knows nothing else. She has never met another human since she's been on this island with her father. And he has a scent machine that can capture scents, and they keep them in jars. And it's kind of the discovery of what led her father to go on this island with her. And she ends up going off the island and having to learn and adjust to the real world. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I should really have this link. I should let you know first. Yeah, 4 stars for this one. And I highly recommend it. It was really good. And I was kind of surprised because the synopsis was not something I thought was great, but the story actually ended up being pretty good. So that was another one that I read in February. So another book that I read in February was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and this is the first book that I have read by Rainbow Rowell, and I enjoyed it. In our story, we follow our main girl, and it is her first year in college, and her twin sister is also going to the same college as her, but her twin sister has decided that she doesn't want to be twinsies, you know, like she wants to go on her own thing and not be roommates and just like live their lives separately. And our main girl Kath was not prepared for that, and she was ready to like go into college, be with her sister, and let things kind of continue the way they had already been going in her life. And she is also the author of a very popular fan fiction, and I really enjoyed it. It was a pretty good little story, and I don't know, like it really took like my freshman year of college because it directly seems like they're taking from Harry Potter. And when I was in early college, I actually was a Twilight fangirl, so don't hate me, but and I've read a lot of Twilight fan fiction, so I thought that was pretty interesting that it really explored fan fiction, and as like not as a real form of writing, because it is a real form of writing, but as an expression and how to like continue yourself past fan fiction. So I thought that was interesting. I did give it 5 stars. I think I got a little bit taken away with it. I think looking back on it, I might give it like a 3.5 or a 4 star, but I really connected with the story and I really enjoyed the point of view. My next book that I read was Emma by Jane Austen, and I gave this one 3 stars only because I feel like I did not take away from the book everything that could have been taken away. I liked the story. It was very cute, and I like the relationship between Emma and Harriet. So in this story we are following Emma, and the main plot, I guess, is Emma is trying to get someone to marry her friend Harriet. She's kind of taken under her wing. I think, like I said, I think a lot of it went over my head, and I'm going to have to maybe watch a movie, reread it, listen to it again to really be able to take in everything that it was ready to give. I did start reading it, and then I started listening to it on Audible. The Audible is a full cast, which kind of made it better because then I could really give like more emotions to different characters, because it kind of got to the point where I was like, I don't know who I'm listening to or reading. Like, it's just too much. So I started listening to it on Audible, and I enjoyed it there. And I think I'm, like I said, gonna listen to it again and hopefully take away more. So that was another one I read in February. And then another one I read in February was Every Heart a Doorway. And this is a pretty short read. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars only because the ending really irritated me, but I should have known it was coming because the whole story, they're telling you what's gonna happen, and I just didn't want it to. So that is the only reason I didn't enjoy it, was the ending. I really liked a lot of the characters, and I liked the world building that they did. And yeah, like I said, I gave it 3 stars for only because of the ending, and I really don't have much else to say about it. I highly recommend it. I don't want to say too much because I feel like everything about this book is a spoiler. So that is another that I read in February. One of the comic books that I read in February was Raven. This was written by Cami Garcia, who is the author of Beautiful Creatures, and it was illustrated by Gabriel Piccolo, which is my favorite illustrator, I would say, of all time, because I haven't found one I liked better. And this follows Raven before Teen Titans, so this is kind of like a prequel to the Teen Titan group, and this one follows her story and where she is in life. Like I said, Gabriel Piccolo is one of my favorites. He's like awesome rock star. I don't know. I just love the way he illustrates so much, and I highly recommend this. There isn't much more to the story other than her figuring out who she is because she lost her memories, and that's really it. Beast Boy is coming out in the summer, and I'm also pretty excited to pick that one up. Alright, so another comic book that I read this month was the first of the Saga series. And in this one, we are following our 2 main characters right here, and they are running away from law enforcement because they are from opposite sides of the war and have both defected and have fallen in love, and they have had a child, and this follows their story immediately after she has given birth, and they are trying to flee from the planet that they are currently on. I really enjoyed it. I have already picked up volume 2 and finished that, so this is one that I'm hoping to continue reading, and I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 3 stars, maybe 4 stars. Let me look. Yeah, I did give it 4 stars, only because I like to give myself room if I enjoy one more in the series than this one, which I have a feeling that as the characters develop, I will start to like more stories than this one. So that was another one that I read this month. My audiobooks that I listened to this month, there was quite a few. I listened to Neanderthal, Marries, Human, and this is a Penny Reid story, and it follows our characters from the first book as they are getting married and some of the struggles that are going through there. I gave that one 4 stars. It is a cute little series that I continued. Penny Reed is officially my go-to feel-good author right now. So that was one that I read by her. And then I actually read Beard With Me by her as well. And this one is in a different series. The first one was in Knitting in the City series. And this one is in the Winston Brothers series. And I love the Winston Brothers series so much. Every Winston brother is, oh, yes, please. So this follows Billy and Scarlett, and this is actually different than all the other ones because the other ones are set in the future or in the present day, and this one is set in the past. And this one is like the beginning of Billy and Scarlett, where the other books are like, I don't know, like it's set in a different like little layout than the other one because this one's a two-parter because the next one is also Billy and Scarlett. I gave this one 5 stars because I love Billy so much. Like I said, I love all the Winston brothers. So I highly recommend this one as well if you're into like romances. I will say this one has a bigger abuse line in it than any of the other ones. So if abuse isn't something you like to read about, then I maybe wouldn't pick up this one. But other than that, it is a pretty nice little romance story. Listen to One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this one follows our main character who has just lost her husband, and he has died in a helicopter crash, I believe, if I remember correctly. And he goes on this exploration, he dies in the helicopter, and it's her coming to terms with that and her living her life for a couple years and finding new love. And then he ends up not having died, and he had survived, and he has made it back to her, and she has to decide to make whether she loves him or whether she loves her new love, and she has to like figure out her headspace. And I thought this one was a lot better than the last one I had listened to, and I enjoyed this one a lot. So another audiobook that I listened to by Taylor Jenkins Reid is The 7 Husbands of Evylen Hugo, and I really enjoyed this one. It follows the main character, Evylen Hugo, as she goes into stardom, and then it follows her life that she is retelling to a journalist. And she is trying to explain her life in a way that nobody has understood it before. And I thought it was really, really like not lighthearted, but like really heartening, and it was beautiful, and I loved it so much. And this will be what makes me continue on with Taylor Jenkins Reid, because I thought I wasn't going to be reading any more by her after this, but I loved it so much that I'm hoping that I can read Daisy Jones and the Six next, but we will see. And then I did take some books from the library as well this month, and one of the first ones that I got was The Good Luck Girls of Shipwreck Lane. And this one follows our 2 main characters who have both believed to won a HGTV dream house, and one of them has and one of them has not, and it follows their power struggles, I guess, and their friendship building and just relationship building after winning this house. It's by Kelly Harms. I also gave this one a 5-star. It's not really a romance, but there is romance in it, and it is a very sweet romance, so I recommend the little sweet romance. And I do have a quote that I wrote down because it was hilarious. It says, "You can fry just about anything if you leave the Food Network. Apple fritters, donuts, anything in puff pastry, candy bars, and cheesecake even." And that's what it is. Like, the story intermixes recipes and food, and it was just like, every time I read this, I was like, now I need to go eat something. So that was another book that I read in the month of February. Another book that I got out of the library was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book? Yeah, second book in the Mortal Instruments series. I think it's the second book, isn't it? Tell me if I'm wrong. Is it the first one? I don't know. I think it might be the first one, because I read the second one this month too, which is what, City of Ashes. And I thought, like I said, I read both of them. Yeah, so this is the first one, City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This one is the only one I remember reading in high school. I am trying to get back into the series so that I can keep up with the rest of the series because she has written so many more since I stopped reading. And in this one, we follow Clary as she discovers her mother's secret life, and I guess her father's as well. And she is thrown into this fantasy world that she had no idea existed. And it just kind of follows her struggles through that. This one I gave 4 stars. It was what I remembered. I'm rating it on my read this time, not on my past read. When I first read it, I don't remember how much I actually enjoyed it. So there is that. And then, like I said, I did also read City of Ashes in March. And this one I only gave 3 stars because I hate the Clary and Jace relationship in the second book. And I believe it follows through for most of the third book. So I gave it 3 stars because I just cannot stand it. So that is another one that I rented from the library. And I think the last book I rented from the library is The Last True Poets of the Sea. And this one is following a girl who, her brother just tried to kill himself. And she has made some bad decisions. And so she is sent away to the city, or this town where her uncle lives and where her family is from. And it's just kind of her self-acceptance of how her family trauma has affected her. And she is going through all of these things, trying to discover kind of where her family came from to start with and some of the secrets that are wrapped around her family. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought that the little love in it was so cute, and I'm really happy that I read it. So those are all of the books that I read and listened to in February. If you'd like to know some stats, I have those for you. I picked up 20 books altogether. I know I finished 18 of them. And then, hold on, I have my stat sheet in here somewhere. And then I listened to 5, and I read 13 physically. I listened to 36 hours on Audible, and I read 6,532 pages. It was a pretty successful month for me altogether. I was hoping to slow down in March, but so far it has not been that way. Today that I'm filming this is March 11th, and I know I'm filming this late in the month, but what can you do? But today is March 11th, and I have not read nearly as much as I did last month, so there is that. But I still have a lot more to read, so we will see what happens. But thank you for joining me again, and we will see you next time.